Happy Hump Day! Later on tonight, it is Live Wire Wednesday. It's a full hour dedicated to one of my favorite bands, AC/DC. We'll do that tonight, brought to you by Southern Precision Staffing, 205-682-2828, 8 o'clock Central Time. It's our most listened to show on our entire radio station, the TKR app. You can also check it out on podcast. Weird day yesterday, so I'm in the process of moving. Trying to find a new place to live. Anybody got any ideas, let me know. I'm looking for a place to put my studio in and new house. I'm looking forward to this wonderful new beginning that God has blessed me with. And so I'm cleaning some stuff out. I'm going through my daughter's bedroom, and I'm cleaning some stuff out, throwing stuff away, and I can't find my stinking phone. Brandon Austin Morris, good morning to you. Teresa Ponderwick, good morning as well. And I can't find my stinking phone. It's the worst thing in the world. I hate the fact that we rely so much on our phones, but I couldn't find my phone. And so I'm starting to get, and I knew it was in the house, so I'm like, I'm not leaving the house till I can find my phone. So I start going room by room. I'm looking at the bathroom. Did I go outside? Am I downstairs? Did I leave it in whatever? And thank goodness for Josh Claypo, my radio partner, because he texted me. And see, I keep my ringer off because I'm doing shows all day and I don't want my phone to ring. And I hear it pinging. It's in the bottom of the trash can. I don't know. Have you ever thrown your phone away and you didn't even realize it? I mean, I've dropped it in portalets. I've left it on the hood of the car. I've left it at people's houses. I've left it at the house, but I've never had my phone in the trash. Thank goodness I got my phone back, and there we are. So then I'm going down to Homewood yesterday to be part of the Jay Barker radio show. He does a sports show. You can look up. It's on 100.9 in Tuscaloosa. And I'm driving the show yesterday, and I get to the studio, and I realize I don't have any flipping glasses. Man, you know when you're old. You know, I mean, I'm embracing this because I'm 25 down there, I'm 35 here, I'm 56 up here, and you realize that life is just getting a little bit more difficult when you realize you cannot live without your phone or your glasses. I've got readers, and so I had to get in my car. No one had an extra pair of readers, and I got like 17 pairs of glasses here at the house. I leave them in every room, so sometimes I go to bed with them on top of my head. And so I had to go run to some place in Homewood, and the only pair of glasses they had were a pair of red rim women's glasses. And so that's what I'm going to wear today. And I actually kind of like them. They're pretty comfortable. Someone reached out to me yesterday and said, why do you talk about what you talk about on Facebook Live and what you do on Tony Kurre Live on the TKR app and on the Tony Kurre podcast? And I said, really, I get up in the morning around 4:30. I do some research. I go to the New York Post and several other websites, and then I just talk about stuff that I think is, Stephen Green, good morning to you, man. I just start talking about stuff that I think is interesting. And if you watch these shows, you realize they're kind of cryptic and I'm all over the place. They're not well polished because I just talk about things that kind of pop in my little head. So there's a couple things that are really interesting today. First of all, A Christmas Story. Listen, I don't understand why people get so angry and so upset that Christmas comes earlier every single year. To me, it's a great thing because it helps me navigate the Christmas season at the rate I want to enjoy it. If I want to start celebrating Christmas in October, so be it. If you want to wait till December 24th, that's great for you. But the fact that it's out there and I can actually enjoy it because time is going by so flippin' fast right now, I can't believe it's already Wednesday. Christmas is going to be here in 53 days. You know, like 53 days. I mean, it will be here. It's like tomorrow already. So the fact that it's here a little earlier, I can navigate it at the rate I want to enjoy the holiday season. If you want to enjoy it early, great. If you don't, so be it. But there's no reason to be upset about it. So I find out November 17th, A Christmas Story is coming out, and it is the original cast from A Christmas Story, but it's 40 years later. Peter Billingsley, who of course was in the Will Ferrell flick Elf, if you remember that, and of course played Ralphie, is back to reprise his role in this particular show. I sent out a trailer on the Tony Kurre Radio on Twitter this morning, but it's Farkas, it's Frick, it's Schwartz, it's all the original guys. I love it. One of the reasons I love that is my dad loved A Christmas Story. That generation loved that documentary, that show, that TV show, whatever. And of course, I think like on TBS, they do A Christmas Story. They play it for like a week on end, just one after the other. And it's great. I love it. It's one of those, it's like Christmas Vacation. Every time I tune it in, I have to watch the entire thing. And I'll probably watch it 6 or 7 times this holiday season. But they're coming out with A Christmas Story, Christmas Story. Got A Christmas Story, Christmas Story. HBO Max on November 17th, and it's Peter Billingsley going back to his old neighborhood and getting together with his old buddies and having a Christmas of his own for his kids. People say it's fantastic. So if you're into a Christmas story and you want to celebrate a little early, maybe before Thanksgiving, you can do that. Birthdays today. Michael Buffer is 78. Did you realize that Michael Buffer, and I know this, I'm going to give you a little behind the curtain thing here in radio. We got an email or a document once a year from our company, Cumulus at the time. You cannot say, let's get ready to rumble. Because if you do it the way Michael Buffer does, he has it legalized to the point where he owns that phrase, let's get ready to rumble. I'm not even supposed to say it here. And if you do it on a radio station, a terrestrial radio station, commercial terrestrial radio station, you get fined $50,000 every time you do it. So we'd always get this memo that says, do not say this, particularly when there's a big fight coming up, do not say this the way Michael Buffer does, because it'll be plagiarism and you'll owe. And radio stations had to pay $50,000 every time a jock did it. And if a jock did it, he got fired for it. Isn't that crazy? By the way, Michael Buffer, net worth, $400 million. That's crazy. Being in boxing rings his entire life. Happy birthday to Michael Buffer. He turns 78 today. Keith Emerson at the Emerson Lake in Palmer would have been 78 today. And David Schwimmer turns 56 today. I said this the other day, and maybe, and again, I just bring up stuff that's interesting to me, and maybe you don't care. Matthew Perry, I mention every day I take about a half an hour, 45 minutes to do some meditation, maybe do some prayers, maybe I take a nap with my dog, whatever, and it's usually about 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'll put on TBS, channel 22 on my Spectrum, and I'll watch Friends because they play like 6 or 7 episodes back to back to back. It's my comfort show. Everyone loves Friends. You could have seen an episode 25 times. You'll watch it again. And I like all the characters in the show, and for the most part, they've all stayed relatively clean. So Matthew Perry now is writing this book, and he was on with Diane Sawyer last night. He was on The View the day before. He's on Stephen Colbert later on tonight. The guy is everywhere. It's a great interview. It's a great get. He's on. I think he's on James Corden. He's like on. You will see Matthew Perry on some TV show probably within the next hour, and he's out pimping his new book. Well, we're finding out in this book, I mean, he wrote it. There is nothing he is hiding. He's talked about wearing a colostomy bag. He's talked about his colon exploding. He's talked about doing 2 years of Friends while he was totally messed up. He talked about Fat Chandler. He talked about Skinny Chandler. He talked about Goatee Chandler. He talked about the lines he had to read that he didn't like. He's talked about his relationships with the people on the show. He mentioned Jennifer Aniston, by the way, he reached out to him most. He's talked about his drug addiction. He's talked about all these women, Julia Roberts, Cameron Diaz. He's talked about all these women that he went out with and then dumped them because he was so insecure about his own sexuality. I mean, he goes on and on and on. And so I'm thinking to myself, Matthew Perry is making enough residual money from syndication of Friends that none of them have to work another day in their life. They're like, well, you know, they're millionaires. It's really expensive to let them. No. I mean, they're getting millions and millions and millions of dollars every single year just from the residuals of syndication from Friends. Good from them. That's great. He was making like $50,000 an episode when they started year 1. Year 10, he was making $1 million an episode. That's great. And again, you're only getting half of that in taxes. I don't want to hear it. But he's doing pretty well is my point. He writes this book, and of course, this is based off the show they just did about a year ago, where they all got together, and it was great. It was a big kumbaya, and everyone got back together again. And he was the only one, quite frankly, in the crew that didn't look good. He didn't look good. But he's writing all these things in this book. John David Lyons, good morning to you, brother. I hope Delray, Florida is teaching you and speaking to you well this morning. I'm wondering why he feels the need to tell everybody about every single thing in his life. A lot of people have asked me to write a book. I've got some great stories. I've shared a lot of them here with you on TKR and on Facebook Live. And I've always thought this would be a really good read, but why am I wanting to write the book? Do I want to write it because there's a lot of salacious stuff in there? Maybe. Are there some things that are going to hurt some feelings? Possibly. Are there some things I want to teach about myself? Maybe I have some insecurities that I feel like I have to put them in words and share them with the world? Possibly. But I'm trying to think to myself, and if Matthew Perry doesn't need the money, I'm trying to think to myself, why did you write this book? And why did you feel the need to tell us everything. Because as much as I like Matthew Perry, as much as I like the show, it is changing the way I feel about the dude. And it's gone from sympathy to compassion to what are you doing, you idiot? And I mean, listen, I know about addictions. I know about all those things. I know of insecurities. I understand that. I think it's really cool when a celebrity that we really prop up on a high pedestal bears their soul. I get all that. But I'm trying to think to myself, why would you write a tell-all book about everything in your life? I mean, he took every skeleton out of the closet and share it with us. Why? If he wants to advocate for a particular situation, if he wants to talk about addictions, he wants to talk about his recovery, he wants to talk about insecurities and sexual deviancy, if he wants to talk about, if he just feels like we need to know what happened on the show behind the scenes, I get that. But he's not doing that. He's just writing this book and telling everything about everything, and some of it's quite frankly disgusting. The whole, him crapping on himself and his colon blowing up. I don't need to hear that. It's not going to not make me watch the show. I still like the guy. I still like the entire. But I'm wondering, the other five are going, dude, what are you doing? And he hasn't really shared anything in the book about any of his co-cast, any salacious, nasty stuff. But I'm just wondering why someone would do that. Like if someone offered you like $50 million to spill everything in your life, spill your guts. I mean, everything you can remember, and put it in a book, and you're getting offered $50 million for it, I get it. Because $50 million is 50, but he don't need the money. He doesn't need the money. He doesn't need any new jobs. I mean, he's done a ton of different movies and stuff with people, and I appreciate the fact that he's sharing some of these stories. He mentioned the fact that he bought like 100 Xanax before he started doing the whole 9 yards of Bruce Willis, because he was so starstruck of Bruce Willis, and he was a star in his own right. But he was so starstruck, and I kind of get that. It's kind of like, okay, that's a little nugget of information that kind of surprises me a little bit, because Matthew Perry's a big guy, and big into movies, and Bruce Willis. But I mean, the fact that he goes as deep and as narrow as he possibly can, and I'm thinking to myself, why? And I mean, every morning or every afternoon or every night, every time I turn the TV on or get on a website, I'm seeing a Matthew Perry story. I'm like, enough already, dude. I don't want to see it anymore. Just an idea. Just wondering. I mean, if you and I were offered millions and millions of dollars to spill our guts, I could see why we do it. But there's really no reason. And why does he feel the need to tell everybody everything? It's kind of like social media. It's kind of like, why are you telling me this? What do you want? In most cases, it's attention, right? Let's be psychological here. If Dr. Josh is here, you want attention. You want people to look at you. You want people to feel for you. You want people to feel empathy or compassion for you, sympathy. I get that, but I'm wondering. And I have not seen one of these interviews, but I'm wondering if someone says, "Why did you write this book?" Or what did you want to get out of divulging your entire life secrets to everybody on the face of the earth? Just curious. I don't know. All right. Make sure you check out the TKR app. It's fantastic. We have shows starting here at 9 o'clock this morning, students of the game. We record that show on Monday. Of course, that was the day that Brian Harsin was let go. They've got coaching searches, all kinds of things. 3 college kids talking about college football, the NBA and stuff. It's a great show. Starts at 9 o'clock. We have shows that go almost all day long, from 9 o'clock in the morning to about 7 o'clock at night at the top of the hour. In between, we do classic rock. We are a classic rock station. Weekends are killer. We have more listeners on weekends than anywhere else, because everyone loves to listen to classic rock on weekends, and it's fantastic. So download the TKR app, TKR on Apple, Tony Kurre Radio on Android, and of course, if you search Tony Kurre Radio Podcast, Kurre with a K, Tony Kurre Radio Podcast, there's well over 1,000 episodes of everything from Damon Johnson with Brother Kane, and Leonard Skinner does his own show. We have Blues Almighty with Austin Hanks. We have When in Rome with Stuart Rome and the Woodhouse Day Spot. It's a great show. It's got musical elements to it. We've got Southern Precision Staffing bringing us Live Wire Wednesday later on tonight. All the shows are up on all of our podcasts, so check it out. It's fantastic, and I'm super proud of it. And our listenership was up over 130% last month. It is finally going viral, and we're loving that. And I thank you and appreciate that so much. I'm so blessed to do something I love every single day, hanging out with you guys, and at the same time listening to great classic rock and roll and great shows. Big weekend, by the way, in the college football. We have Alabama LSU. I believe that's going to be for the West. I think whoever wins that game is going to win the West. LSU is about a 14-point dog. And, of course, we got Georgia and Tennessee. We saw the CFP and their top 4 last night. Don't get your panties in a wad. It's going to be okay. It's only week 10. We got another 4 or 5 weeks to go. It'll all change for you Alabama Crimson Tide fans. Kudos to the Auburn family, by the way. I know it is Christmas time, a little early for you, and I know you've got your entire list of coaches, everyone from Hugh Freeze to Lane Kiffin to Steele to Grimes. I know Mike Leach is in that short list. So a lot of different coachings that could possibly come to the Auburn Tigers. I know you're excited about that, so we wish you the best of luck as well. Okay, like I said, sometimes I just ramble because that's what I do. All right, I hope you have a fantastic day. Make sure you go check out my good friend at Coosa Valley Auto Sales. My good friend Al Cooper's up there. He'll be open just a couple hours, get ready to sell some cars. We got Chris Dorsey State Farm Team. We got Birmingham and Anniston Budweiser, who are big sponsors of ours. Driscoll Gray. We got the Montgomery Food Bank. We got the Jimmy Hale Mission. We got all these wonderful sponsors and greatly appreciate everything they do for us as well. We thank you so much for watching this morning here on Facebook Live. Go get that TKR app, and I promise you're going to love it. Rock on, brother.